Welcome back everyone, it's Eric from Rare Candy. Here today we are back on the channel with yet again another entry into our testing round series where we take a look at some new archetypes that the set gives us and try out some early lists to see what might have some potential for competitive play. So today we have two different decks. We have on the left myself, I'm going to be playing the new Mewtwo and Mew GX tag team like toolbox style deck. And then over on the right we have Walter Lopez. He's a local player from my area. He was nice enough to help me record this video, and he's gonna be playing the new fossil like toolbox style deck. So a couple of different like toolbox decks we have here, but mine's primarily going to be like a welder variant for this Mewtwo deck. So I have Rhys in here, of course Mewtwo and Mew GX, a bunch of other evolution GXs, and then Walter, he has some different fossil Pokemon like the new Archeops, like the baby Aerodactyl, even the new Aerodactyl GX. So I have to see which of these toolbox decks is going to kind of emerge victorious here. So I am going to get to go first and just trying to take a peek at my hand to see what I want to do here. And it looks like I just passed after Cynthia playing the Cynthia. So here it looks like Walter is going to get down in a skateboard and then Pokemon communication and get... Looks like he's going to put a Carcosta back in his deck, and he's debating on the Diancie, but it looks like he's going to go for another Jirachi. I definitely like this. He's going to be looking for the new Pokemon Research Lab. It's a new powerful card from Unified Minds to help these fossil decks. It's going to allow him to search his deck for two Pokemon that evolved from unidentified fossil, put it on his bench, and then his turn ends. So he definitely wants to find that this turn. And here does he have... he does have a Lily, so this looks to be a pretty good first turn so far. He has the unidentified fossil, he just needs the research lab, and he's going to be good to go. So here we are going to see a fighting energy come down on the unidentified fossil. And let's see, I don't believe he's used Stellar Witch, so we're going to see that come down. And there it is, there's that Pokemon Research Lab. So this looks to be actually a really good first turn for Walter here. And then he still has another Stellar Wish at his disposal as well, so he can, maybe find himself another unidentified fossil potentially, or maybe a rare candy or something like that to maybe set up for an Archeops on the next turn. So we do see a skateboard, so that seems good too, just allow him to retreat this Jirachi if it does manage to stay alive here. And here we are going to see the Pokemon Research Lab. Oh, and Walter does need to get that skateboard to his hand as well. That is pretty important. I don't remember if we caught this or not, but he does need to remember to get that. Okay, there he goes. That's good. So here I'm playing Hapu. It's a new supporter card that we're getting from Unified Minds. You get to look at the top 6 cards of your deck, choose 2, and discard the others. So it's a very aggressive form of draw power. But of course it does have a pretty big downside sometimes. So I had to discard a Rhys, which I don't mind too much. I had to get rid of another Mewtwo as well, so not a big fan of that, but it looks like I'm thinking of playing Custom Catcher. It's just kind of like an awkward turn that I have here. So I do have Giant Hearth in my hand, so I can potentially bump his Stadium and at least get a Pokemon in the discard pile. And so here it looks like I'm going to use the Giant Hearth to get 2 fire energies. And I'm really not sure what I'm thinking about doing here, because I think I kind of need to play the Dene GX almost. Oh, well, if I have the custom catchers, I probably shouldn't play the Dene. Because I was thinking probably maybe in hindsight would have been good to just the Dene with the Cherish Ball I had in hand, discarding the Altaria, and then coming out on the other side of the Dene and using the Giant Hearth. But I guess I'm just going to take things slow, just play a little bit more conservatively right now. I guess I don't mind the Mew if it gets knocked out. So here, Walter is going to get an Archeops online. And he can take a knockout with that if he does choose to. Well, he does need an energy, so that is important to note. So the Archeops, if you guys aren't familiar with it, it has 2 different attacks. The first of which is a colorless to do 40 and you switch into one of your bench Pokemon. But that's really not his main attack. He's really going to be looking more at the second attack on Archeops. Hyper Beam for a colorless energy does 80, and discard an energy from your opponent's active. That's going to be the one he's going to probably use a little bit more. So maybe one reason I didn't play down the Dedenne on my last turn was I was thinking, well, this Mew's going to get knocked out, and then this Dedenne will be a custom catcher away from being knocked out. That's 3 prizes, basically enabling Walter only needing to take 1 tag team knockout this game. So maybe that was my reasoning for just kind of taking things slow here and playing a little bit more conservatively. And here we are going to see a Cynthia from Walter here. So he's going to be looking for an energy. He did get that energy down last turn onto the Archen, or the unidentified fossil at the time, so hopefully that doesn't hurt him too much in terms of finding an energy out of his deck here. And we did see him draw a triple acceleration energy, so that's usually not what he wants to put down on an Archeops, but he can if he does want to take the knockout. And here he might be thinking, do I actually want to do that? Or do I want to try to save my Archeops? Here's just going to go for another Stellar Wish. And he does find Custom Catcher, and he does have a Custom Catcher in his hand already, so that's... So he could grab that, or he could grab a Switch to still attack this turn. Here he's going to go for the Custom Catcher, okay? So if he has Switch, actually, an energy, and... Like, if he has Switch, energy, and another Custom Catcher in hand, if he brings up this Mewtwo, that actually would be pretty annoying for me, discarding that Fire energy. And here it looks like he's just going to take another turn to use a Pokemon Research Lab and get another Pokemon into play. So I think that's generally fine. I'm not putting on a ton of pressure right this second. And he's going to get Aerodactyl, but he quickly kind of changed his mind because the baby Aerodactyl he has in play does 90 plus 90 more because if you have no Pokemon EX or GX in play. So he can't get out the Aerodactyl GX just yet. Aerodactyl is going to be more of like a late game hitter just to kind of clean up some knockouts with. So in the meantime, he's just going to get another Archen. I think that's totally fine here. I think his other Aerodactyl was prized because I think this list right now played 2. So that is a bit unfortunate for him. So this might be a turn I can try to capitalize on things. I really need Welder here. And here it looks like I'm on a Custom Catcher. And oh, looks like I might be taking that back. I might not be sure here. Oh, because I think my play was I was going to tag switch from the Mew onto my Mewtwo and use Double Blaze GX, but I realized, oh wait, tag switch will only allow me to switch energy from tag teams. So we backed that one up a little bit. And guys, you might see us take back a couple plays. You know, we're just playing for fun. We're just testing here, trying to figure out these decks. So try to be a little bit lenient with us on that when that happens throughout the series. But here I am just going to go for the Dedenne. And I am in a Custom Catcher. Looks like up the Aerodactyl still. And I'm going to just dump my hand, try to hit Welder here and an energy. And so let's see what we can get. I don't think I see one in hand, which is definitely annoying. So we're going to Acrobike, get rid of a Fire energy. Finally found a Jirachi of my own. That's definitely going to be good. And let's see, I have Jirachi, I have another Cherish Ball. So actually I probably should have Cherish Ball first in hindsight. I do have Heat Factory, so I could potentially like do that and Fire Crystal and abuse the Heat Factory. That will allow us to dig a little bit deeper. And I am gonna go for the Cherish Ball, so that definitely will be good. That way I can get another Mewtwo into play here. And I'm just going to Cynthia. Okay, yeah, because I didn't play Supporter yet. I only played the Dedenne. So let's see what we can get. I don't really think there's a way I can attack this turn. Well, there's not a way I think I can attack the Aerodactyl. And here, I toss away a Greninja off of the Acrobike. The Greninja GX in particular is going to be really good in this matchup because for a Water and Colorless, it hits for 130 and goes through any effects when your opponent's active. So 130 is a great number to hit for because Archeops and Aerodactyl both have 130 HP. So from there, I might just have to use Psycho Power yet again, just setting up some future math on some of these other Pokemon. You know, once I get the 10 damage on each of these, from there, it really doesn't matter too much, to be honest. I'm just trying to think if there's any situations where I might want additional damage counters on a single Pokemon. And I think this is fine, though. So it looks like Walter gets himself a Recycle Energy. He's going to attach that to... Looks like he was thinking about attaching it to Archeops. So does he have a switch or an escape board? Well, no, he's already played both of his escape boards, I think. So he would need a switch to get out of this active spot with Aerodactyl, which is kind of annoying. He wants to really save these Aerodactyls because kind of the game plan I think he should have here is... Okay, so I'm actually... Yeah, I guess this is fine, bringing up the other Mewtwo. So here he's trying to go for a play where he can strand a Mewtwo active. Because it has no energy right now, so if he can buy a turn where this Mewtwo just gets stuck, since it has that 2 retreat cost, I might not be able to actually move it. But yeah, typically he wants to save his Aerodactyls. I think the typical line of play he wants here, go in with Archeops, do 80 to 100, depending if he has Diancie in play, to soften up a Pokemon, discarding its energy, you know, forcing me to commit additional energies to that Pokemon, and then using Aerodactyl to come in and clean up the knockout. So here he's going to Pokemon Communication, that Carracosta back in deck, and grabbing another Archeops. So no shortage of his Archeops in this game, but like I said, no doubt he's going to want to find himself another Aerodactyl at some point. Or if this one goes down, setting up Aerodactyl GX could be good because its GX attack is actually pretty good against this deck too. So we'll see him evolve that one, and then from there, I'd imagine we're just going to see an attack. There's not too much else he can really do. So we're going to do it 180 with the Aerodactyl, and let's see, what can I do? I have no welder in sight, it looks like, which is quite annoying. I believe I have a Hapu there. I do have an escape board, so I can at least retreat this if I want to. And so with this Hapu, just trying to think, what do I actually want to save here? I think I see another escape board there. And I believe there's 2 custom catchers. So my thing is, I want to keep escape board and I want to keep custom catchers, but I can't keep both custom catchers and the escape board, which is very annoying. I could even go for a Dedenne GX and just dump my hand and try to hit a welder that way. I could keep the escape board and the Dedenne and try to do that, but that just seems so ridiculously aggressive, especially given how big my hand is. Oh, I do have a custom catcher already in hand, so actually I can get a skateboard and custom catcher. I think that would be kind of reasonable here as well if I want to. But here it looks like I'm keeping the Dedenne and the escape board. Okay. Interesting. So I don't really see myself Dedenneing this hand away just because of how big it is, but maybe I think I kept it because I wanted the option to still get Solgaleo GX into the discard pile at some point, just because I might need Turbo Strike to end up setting up a future attacker at some point. I think that was my rationale at the time. And I don't have too many cards left, so if I use the Dedenne GX, I still have a lot of prizes left. I'm not even sure if I can close out the game. And here you can see I am very torn. I remember this turn in particular, I was like, I don't know what line of play I want to go with. And basically I'm thinking, if I am not going to use Dedenne, I take the Reshizard out of the deck, but if I am going to use Dedenne, I leave it in. So here it looks like for the moment I am thinking about using the Dedenne GX. I remember that was kind of my thinking right here, because I really can't afford to take excess cards out of my deck. So here I'm going to attach a Rainbow Energy. Very interesting. That seems like a terrible play. Like, why would I not just use Fire Crystal here? I'm trying to think. Okay, so here it looks like I did change my mind. I'm not going to use the Dedenne, and I'm just going to use this Reshizard. Okay. I guess that's fine. Yeah, I'm not sure why I didn't Fire Crystal here. That seems really, really odd. So here I'm just trying to, I guess, get some more damage counters into play here. And I'm not sure if there's too much relevant math. I guess, like, if I use Bright Tone with Altaria GX, I theoretically could take a knockout on a Jirachi with multiple damage counters on it, but I think at this point, the extra damage really doesn't matter too much. It's just, I think Mew is just probably, like, objectively the best attacker to use here if I'm not going to be attacking with my Mewtwo. So, kind of an awkward game on my part with this Mewtwo deck. Normally it sets up a bit more consistently. Normally I'm, you know, playing Welders and all sorts of stuff like that, but this game, things are just going a little bit awkwardly. So see, Walter's going to get another Archeops online. And does he have a switching method or a way to attack with Aerodactyl? So another thing he could potentially do, he could even hard retreat the Aerodactyl with the Recycle Energy and just go for a Stellar Wish. I think that's honestly not even too terrible as well. So that seems kind of okay. So here it looks like he is going to retreat. And I could have sworn he had a Recycle Energy in his hand previously. If that's the case, I 1000% want to see us correct this. Or maybe he played a Cynthia and it left his hand at that point. But I could have sworn he had a Recycle Energy on the previous turn. But he's just going to take a knockout with the Archeops. I do like that he is opting to save the Aerodactyl here, though. So here I'm going to use Stellar Wish. And we do find a Welder, finally. So I think it's the first Welder all game. If I'm not mistaken, all of my attachments have just been manuals. Alright, so we're going to go for a Fire Crystal here. Getting some Fire Energies back into our hand. So we're probably going to, I'd imagine, attach maybe a Rainbow Energy to the Mewtwo to use Greninja's attack. And then, yeah, that seems okay if we want to go that route. Or I could even use like Double Blaze GX this turn if I really want to. But it looks like I might be, I'm just kind of worried about attaching the Rainbow because another Archeops can just come up and discard it with Hyper Beam. But here we're finally starting to pick up the pace from both decks. We're starting to take some knockouts here. I'm going to use Greninja's attack to do 130. So it's watercolorless. 130 goes through any effects when your opponent's active. So let's see what Walter is going to do this turn. I'd imagine we'll see another Hyper Beam from an Archeops, and here we are going to see a Diancie Prism Star come down. And a Pokegear. So it looks like he's going to find himself a Cynthia here off the Pokegear. Definitely seems good. You know, Walter's board is generally looking pretty good. I think the big thing, though, that he's really going to want to find here is going to be an energy off of his Cynthia. I think really, other than that, he's looking pretty good. So here he's just going to shuffle up and get a fresh hand of 6. So this is a situation, maybe I would have even preferred to see the Diancie stay in deck, just because this Mewtwo and Mew already has 10 damage counter, or has 10 damage on it. So a Hyper Beam would do 90, and then an Aerodactyl would do 180. So if he left the Diancie in deck and try to get another unidentified fossil, if I custom catcher up this Aerodactyl and knock it out, he would still have like another one potentially ready to go whenever he finds off the prizes, or also that would allow him to evolve into an Aerodactyl GX as well if he got out the unidentified fossil. Here we're just gonna see a Stellar Wish, but also if I don't custom catcher up his Aerodactyl, it's fine either way though. So let's see what Walter is going to find off of the Stellar Wish. Right now, I mean, his board is pretty decent. He just really wants to find, I think, other identified fossils and custom catchers and supporters. That's basically what he's going to want for the rest of the game at this point. So we're going to see a Pokegear from him. And does he have an energy? That's the other thing he does need. I forgot about that. And he might have whiffed if he hasn't actually gotten one down. That would actually be a really big whiff. Yeah, so this kind of looks like what's happening, unfortunately. Well, maybe he has an energy and a switch in hand, and I just can't see it. So here he's going to grab the custom catcher off the Stellar Wish. Yeah, if he did whiff the energy, that would actually be pretty bad. Luckily, though, his deck is primarily like a one-prizer deck, so even if he does give up another prize, it's not the end of the world. It just gets much worse if I get Custom Catcher to knock out this Aerodactyl. I think that's where things start to fall apart a little bit here. So I'm just trying to think, where do I want to attach? I might just attach to... I'm just trying to think about like Hyper Beam. Like, if I get Hyper Beamed, where do I want my energy, basically? And I think it's okay maybe to attach to the active, I guess. I'm not sure in this case. And here, I guess I'm just getting down another rainbow just in preparation. I guess, just in preparation of a Hyper Beam. That way I can keep another rainbow in play, potentially. Here you can see, I'm a little bit torn about which way I want to go with this. But at the same time, like, do I really want another energy on a Mewtwo that's just going to get attacked? I think I probably should just attach a fire, yeah, right here to the Reshizard. That seems pretty good, because I can already knock out this Jirachi with a Mist Slash. I believe the name of the attack is from Greninja. I was just trying to think if there's anything else I want to do. I could potentially Cynthia and try to put a lot of these resources back into my deck. So this will increase the size of my deck a little bit here. Okay, and here, since I'm doing that, I'm going to keep the fire energy in deck just because I have decent odds of hitting it. And basically, I'm just trying to prevent myself from decking out and allowing me to be able to still Welder at another point in the game. And I did hit the fire energy again, so that's good. Get that down. And then from there, probably just see a Mist Slash, I would imagine. Here you can see I'm debating, do I want to, I think Dedenne, but because I have that Dragonite GX in hand, I was thinking I could maybe Dedenne and toss this thing away, but we're just going to sit on this hand here and take another knockout. So big turn from Walter. He missed that attachment last turn, which was devastating. He really needs one this turn. So if he has a Cynthia, I think he goes for a Stellar Wish. And here he had that triple acceleration as his next energy. That's got to be quite annoying. So here he's going to grab the unidentified fossil. But like I was saying, typically you would want to Stellar Wish after you play a supporter like Cynthia. But if he's going to play Cynthia or an Erica or something like that, he wants to basically thin cards out of his deck to make sure he can hit energy off of whatever supporter he does decide to play. So, what does he have in hand? It looks like he has a Cynthia, okay? We're just going to see that, that's fine. So, ideally we'll be looking for Recycle Energy. I think that's definitely the energy he wants to hit most here, because he wants to attack with Archeops. And he actually does hit it, that's actually really good. So, we're going to see that come down here. And probably just see a Hyper Beam, discarding the Rainbow Energy. Alright, so just trying to think from there, what are we going to do with this hand? I do have a Welder, but I don't have any Fire Energy, I believe. So I can't play that. I mean, I can use Outrage with this Mewtwo and just take a knockout that way because I can copy Reshiram Charizard's Outrage attack, 30 plus 10 for every damage counter attached. But here, I'm just debating, do I want to chance attacking with this thing, or do I want to just hard retreat into this Reshizard and attack with that? And here looks like I'm going to retreat, keeping the energy on the Mewtwo, and it looks like I must be going for a Double Blaze this turn, if that's what I'm kind of thinking about doing. So one thing that's kind of annoying is that I have this Solgaleo GX in hand. That's actually a card that would be really nice in my discard pile in these types of situations, just because it has the Turbo Strike attack, 2 colorless energy, and you attach this 120 and you attach 2 basic energies from discard to one of your bench Pokemon. So I've had kind of an issue this game just getting my attackers charged up between, you know, not finding a Welder till I only had like 8 cards in deck, and then not being able to get these Solgaleo in the discard pile. You know, very, very annoying. So here Walter is going to evolve this unidentified fossil into the Aerodactyl GX. I'm not a huge fan of this, unless he's planning on attacking with the Aerodactyl GX this turn in particular. The reason I say that too is just because once this Aerodactyl GX comes in play, then suddenly the baby Aerodactyl's damage output is significantly nerfed, because it does 90 plus 90 more if you have no GXs in play, and now with the Aerodactyl GX in play, you know, your other strong back attacker is suddenly not very good. So if he was just going to burn like the GX attack with Aerodactyl this turn, that would be kind of okay, just because you would anticipate it going down, and then suddenly your other Aerodactyl can now attack again. But even still, I'm not a big fan of that. I kind of want to see him save the Aerodactyl GX until like the very end, right when I've already taken 5 prizes and he can use the Aerodactyl to force a 7 prize game. So you know, I think Walter may have just kind of forgotten about that that ability on the Aerodactyl, or not that ability, but the claws on the second attack of the baby Aerodactyl. So hopefully this doesn't come back to bite him, but I'm not a huge fan of this play overall though. But here we're just going to see the Archeops come down and attack, but so we're going to see 100 damage come down here, discarding a Fire Energy, but I really don't even mind just because I have Outrage at my disposal here. So here I'm just looking at my deck, just trying to think, can I afford to Welder here? So it looks like I'm going to use Fire Crystal. And, I mean, I guess I can just manually power up this Mewtwo, like, it's really not the end of the world if I do decide to do that. But I mean, I might even have another Cynthia in deck too to allow me to shuffle my hand back in and reduce my hand size. But even if I just take the time to manually power this thing up, I think that's going to be okay. So here, I guess looks like I'm just kind of like thinking about holding on to my hand. And, oh, okay. I was thinking my game plan at this point is we're going to attempt to power up this other Mewtwo that has a ton of damage, because from there, all we have to do is custom catcher up this Aerodactyl and we win. So from here, I can Outrage, take a knockout on the Archeops. That will put me down to 2 prizes, and then next turn, if I can find my other custom catcher, we're going to be able to win the game against this Aerodactyl. Or actually, you know what? I think I did discard my 3rd custom catcher off a Hapu earlier, so maybe I actually don't have access to that. So this is definitely, I think it's actually still Walter's game. He can potentially win this. Because now that I think about it, I think I am out of custom catchers. If he takes a knockout with this Aerodactyl this turn... Oh wait, I forgot Aerodactyl's capped out at 90 right now. So yeah, Walter really doesn't even have a great play at his disposal. This Reshizard is sitting at 100 damage right now. He needs a way to do 170, and he just cannot do it with this Aerodactyl in play. Or with this Aerodactyl GX in play specifically. So that's definitely a misstep on his part. But guys, to be fair, a lot of times in these testing rounds videos, these are some of our first or second times playing the decks. And in Walter's case, you know, he literally picked this deck up for the first time today when he helped me record this. You know, other than a couple of little test games we did right before this. So, you know, some misplays are going to be expected in this series. So try not to be too hard on him here. And it looks like he is... So if he has a triple acceleration energy, I think the play would be to attack with the baby Aerodactyl, because you can still get a knockout, but... And here I had the energy to retreat, because I had the escape board down, so maybe he didn't realize I had the escape board. And here I can just outrage, knocking out this Jirachi, and you know, it's pretty much game at this point, because I do have a welder in my hand, so I can power up another attack if need be. So yeah, just kind of a bad spot for Walter here. I don't even think he can get a knockout to at least bring the prize race a little bit closer. So we're going to see a Lily from him, but again, I'm just really not sure what he could be going for, because even if he gets the Aerodactyl GX powered up, he can only max out at 140, so he's going to be a little bit shy of knocking out this Reshiram Charizard here. And we're just going to see a Lily. And I think he kind of sees, you know what, I think, you know, we tried our best here, but I think this game's not going anywhere. And yeah, we're going to scoop it up. So I am going to take the first game in this series. But, you know, this is a best 2 out of 3 series, so Walter definitely has some time to bring it a little bit closer here. And we're just going to shuffle up for game 2. So the big thing for Walter, he wants to make sure to not put that Aerodactyl down until he absolutely needs it. That's going to be one of the big key things here. And Walter is going to take a mulligan, which is kind of expected with this deck sometimes, just because it only plays, I think, 5 physical basics, since Unidentified Fossil is technically still a trainer card until it comes down into play. So let's see what he can find here off this other hand. Still nothing in sight. Now, the one good thing about Walter's deck, though, is that he's almost guaranteed to start Jirachi, just because it has 4 Jirachi, 1 Diancie Prism, so more often than not, his starter is going to be his ideal starter, which it makes some of the mulligans feel a little bit better, at least. And we see he does get a Jirachi, it's definitely good. Ooh, his hand is a little bit awkward. He does have Archon and an Aerodactyl in there. Oh, but he does have Cynthia, so he'll be okay. So here we're just going to see the Cynthia. That is nice that we'll put those fossil Pokemon back in his deck, hopefully to where Pokemon Research Lab can more easily find them and get them into play. So the big thing he's going to want to find here this turn, he's going to want an unidentified fossil, probably another Jirachi, and Pokemon Research Lab. Those are going to be, I think, his ideal cards to look for here. So here he's going to get down that Diancie, going for a Stellar Wish. And he does find an unidentified fossil. So no Pokemon Research Lab, but he is going first, so it is nice he is able to, at the very least, get some sort of fossil Pokemon in play. So whiffing the Terminal Research Lab isn't the end of the world here. Here I'm just going to go for an Acrobite, discarding a Fire Energy. We can always get that back with Welder. So here I am going to Welder, get 2 energy on this Mewtwo. And here I'm going to... Looks like maybe Big Oven away this Dragonite. Honestly, I think I maybe should have held on to... Yeah, I think I should have held on to the... Or Giant Hearth, I believe, is the name of the card now that it's finally been revealed in English. But I think I actually should have maybe have saved that till next turn, because I actually don't need to attack with Dragonite this turn or anything like that. So now I run the risk of it getting bumped out of play and not even getting much value from it. Now, okay, I guess I don't mind this if I have a Welder in hand. If I don't have a Welder, I think I should have just saved this for another turn. Oh, I think I needed an attachment for turn still, because I had only Weldered, and I didn't want to burn my Fire Crystal, I guess. Okay, so that makes some sense then. And I'm probably just going to see a pass after that. So Dragonite GX, we'll briefly talk about that really quick. It's going to be more of an attacker to close out the game, specifically if Walter ever forces an Aerodactyl GX up, it could potentially knock that out in one hit because it has Sky Judgment. I believe it's 5 Colress Energy, 270 damage, and you discard 3 energy from this Pokemon. So, of course, our Mewtwo and Mew GXs can copy that at some point if we do need them. Here, Walter does have the Pokemon Research Lab and a Cynthia. So I bet that feels good. Bumping my Giant Hearth from play. Definitely a really important card in this deck in terms of discarding your evolution Pokemon. So I definitely want to keep those in play for as long as possible. And Walter's just not letting me do that at all here. So let's see what he's going to grab. He does have a Pokemon Communication in hand. But here looks like he might just be going for a Pokemon Research Lab. Alright, and I do have another Giant Oven, or Giant Hearth. I gotta get used to calling it by its correct name. So here I am going to... Looks like I attached the Fire Energy. I'm actually going to take it back, it looks like. Oh, because I had a Rainbow in hand. That's what it was. So the reason I'm doing this instead of the Fire is because if I whiff the Reshizard, but if I draw into Greninja GX, I can discard it with Giant Oven and still take a knockout that way. Or Altaria GX, I can also, I believe, no, I would still need an additional energy for Altaria. But anyways, I end up drawing the Greninja, so this actually mattered a lot. So I can discard it with Giant Hearth and get 2 fire energies out of the deck. Greninja GX, I think in particular, is probably one of the best attackers in this matchup, just because it does 130, which is the perfect number against a number of different Pokemon in the Fossil Toolbox deck that Walter's playing here. So here you can see my deck is working a little bit more efficiently than it was last game. And Walter, it looks like he's going to promote the Archon. And let's see. So he is going to Pokemon Communication and get himself an Archeops here. So the big thing he needs at this point now, of course, though, is going to be an energy to attack. And he does have another Research Lab, so that's definitely good. He's been on top of that. And he does have the energy, so it's actually not too bad of a turn. Now, from here, I think he wants to find himself another Jirachi just to give himself a good pivot in between knockouts. And maybe even another Archon or another unidentified fossil would also be good here. But right now, you know, he's looking pretty good. He's going to be able to establish his loop that he has between, you know, softening things up with Archeops, coming in with Aerodactyl, and finishing them off. And we do see another unidentified fossil. That's definitely good. And here we're going to see Hyper Beam dealing 100 damage, discarding that Rainbow Energy. So here I have a Cherish Ball in hand. I could grab myself a Reshiram Charizard potentially if I wanted to make use of that. It's going to be one of the better attackers here. Yep, that looks like what I am going to be going for. So we'll have to see what I'm going to do beyond that. I couldn't tell if I had a Welder in hand or not, but that would definitely be necessary this turn to make sure I can attack with something that's not going to get one-shotted. So here I'm going to Welder onto the other Mewtwo and Mew GX. Going to Acrobike. See, I think I see a Custom Catcher. So I am going to opt to keep that instead of the other Cherish Ball. And then I can attach another energy, and then just from there, probably use Double Blaze GX to take a knockout. But here I'm actually just going to take a knockout with the damaged Mewtwo. Very interesting. Okay, I have Welder in hand, but I think maybe I don't have Fire Crystal. Maybe that was kind of like my line of thinking. So here, looks like Walter is going to get down Archeops, and he's going to have the Aerodactyl fully powered, and he got a Jirachi, so both decks are kind of like running as you would hope at this point. Oh, so yeah, I did have Fire Crystal in my hand, so I really don't know why I didn't retreat him, because my big worry was like, well, if I retreat, then I'm gonna have my only power-up attacker get swung on. So yeah, I think I definitely should have retreated last turn. So not really sure what my thinking was here. Again, this is our first couple times playing these decks though, so I do apologize, guys, for any suboptimal plays you might see in this video. So I am going to Welder here. We can attach another energy, probably just Flare Strike. That seems okay. So we're going to Flare Strike, and then not sure what we were discussing there. I'm going to take the knockout, but you know, this feels pretty bad. I'm trading not the best with this one prize deck in this particular game. Like, my deck is working, but I think I'm honestly just playing like kind of sloppy here. But basically, if I can have Walter with an attack for one turn, I think that's going to give me enough of an opening to ensure that I can close out this game here. So I'm basically just hoping he doesn't have energy. Here he's going to go for a Custom Catcher. Not too great of a card in this particular situation. So let's see, and I didn't get a good look at what all is in his hand. And he is going to Custom Catcher, so I think this is kind of a risky play, bringing up this Reshizard. And his line of thinking is, well, Reshizard has a 3 retreat cost, so if we use Hyper Beam and, you know, soften up this Reshizard, yeah, it can probably take a knockout with Outrage, but it probably can't retreat since it does have a 3 retreat cost. So I think this is a little bit risky. I think I would have preferred to see him save Custom Catchers to get a knockout, but maybe he needs to play Lily this turn, and he's just trying to play down his hand. That could be something as well. Or if he's going to play Cynthia, he could be thinking, well, oh, and he does have the energy, and he is going to go for Lily. Okay, but he did have a Cynthia in hand, so I think I would have preferred him just to save the Custom Catchers for a different turn. So yeah, I'm not a really big fan of that potential play. I'd rather see the Custom Catchers come down whenever he's going to take a knockout, because either way he's going to soften up one of my tag teams. And he does have 2 more Custom Catchers, but now it's going to be much harder to find that combo since he just burned 2 of them. So here we are going to see a Hyper Beam come down, and he's basically saying, hey, can you get out the active? If not, I'm probably just going to win. Because he only needs to knock out one more tag team. So here I can just play Switch, so that play, unfortunately for Walter, did backfire a little bit on him here. So I'm just going to play a Cynthia and refresh my hand here. So the big card I really want to put in the discard pile, I think at this point, is going to be Solgaleo GX. That's one of the other key cards that will allow me to set up future attackers with that strike and run attack potentially. So that is one card I am very happy to shuffle back into my deck. And then from there, if I can just find another Welder for the following turn, that would be good too. Okay, and so there's really not too much else I really need this turn. Looks like I am going to go for a Cherish Ball, though, just to thin Pokemon out of my deck. Could just go for a Dedenne. I think I actually don't have a supporter in hand. So I guess I'm just taking a peek through my deck, seeing what all we have access to. And then from there, I believe we'll probably just see a knockout from this Mewtwo. And we're just going to Dedenne. Looks like I'm thinking about playing Dedenne. But I'm going to get down the Mew, it appears. Alright, let's see. Not sure what I'm digging for here. Maybe just trying to set up something for my next turn. And here looks like I have Custom Catcher and Tag Switch to pick from. Now, if I have another Custom Catcher left in deck, I think I do get rid of the Tag Switch in this instance. So yeah, I am going to get rid of the Custom Catcher. So maybe I am, thinking I might need that Tag Switch. If I have another Reshizard, I might need tag switch to set up a fresh attacker that's not about to be one-shot by an Aerodactyl. So maybe that's kind of what I was thinking here. And here I think okay, so I'm just going to take a knockout. I think I saw a heat factor in my hand, so maybe I was thinking, do I play that down? Yeah, we're just going to Flare Strike here, and, you know, Walter's definitely going to need something big. So he's going to need another Archeops or, you know, something like that to keep attacking, or an Aerodactyl. Now, the one thing that's awkward about the state of his board is he doesn't have another unidentified fossil in play. He really needs another one, I think, here this turn. So it looks like he's debating attaching to the unidentified fossil, but he might be thinking, well, if I hit Aerodactyl, then I might want to like hold out and try to get a triple acceleration. So here it looks like he is Pokemon communicating away the Archon. Let's see, what is he going to get? And he is going to get the Aerodactyl, okay. So he is going to be trying to force the 7 prize game. And we are going to see a Lily. And do we see... Oh man, I don't think he has a triple acceleration energy from what I can tell. If that's the case, I think I would have preferred to see a Stellar Wish come down first. Ooh, yeah, so that's definitely an unfortunate whiff on his part here. But in this case, I have the custom catcher, so I can just bring up this Aerodactyl, and then from there, it's pretty much going to be checkmate because he doesn't have any other attackers ready to go in this instance. And we didn't catch it till after this game, but he actually should have Research Lab that turn, since he wasn't attacking, could have gotten out an Archon or something like that. But I think at this point, it's just a little bit too late, because even an Archeops can't one-shot this Reshiram Charizard on the bench with some custom catchers. So here I can just attach a Rainbow from hand. I think that's fine. And then we can use... What am I using here? That's what I'm trying to think. Oh, I'm using Greninja GX's attack. That's what it is, yeah. And then from here, yeah, I think it's just kind of checkmate for Walter. I don't really think he has anything at his disposal at this point. And I think that's going to be the game. If he had a way to get Aerodactyl GX in play, that would actually be busted. But unfortunately, he doesn't at this point. So that is going to be the game. The Mewtwo and Mew GX like tag team toolbox deck is going to emerge victorious here. And of course, guys, if you do want to see the deck profiles for both these decks, they will be posted in the coming days. And whenever they do go live, I will have links down below in the description for you to check them out as well. But of course, if you did enjoy this content today, feel free to like and subscribe. And of course, consider supporting this channel over at patreon.com/rarecandytcg or by picking up some merch from our online store, rarecandytcg.com. It would mean a lot. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.